Is it now Labour Party policy that the unemployed are authors of their own misfortune to such an extent that they should be deprived of social housing?
This was the speech made by the new Housing Minister, Caroline Flint, and the question is whether it's now Labour Party policy that the unemployed are authors of their own misfortune, and to such an extent they should be deprived of social housing, presumably if they don't get jobs. Duncan Bannatyne.
Well, having spent the first 20 years of my life in the council house and been unemployable for many years of my life, I have to say I think it's a ridiculous idea that people who, by some misfortune, can't find employment, can't better themselves, should have the situation made worse by having the houses taken from them. It's absolutely ridiculous. We should be helping and encouraging people to learn more skills and to get more jobs, not condemning them for it.
I've been getting worried for some years about this way in which you can chase the headlines and look tough as a politician by separating the worthy from the unworthy poor. You know, in Council House number 1, you have the perfect family whose votes you care about, who are no doubt visiting Mr Burnham in his surgery. And then in the house next door, the neighbours from hell. The kids have all got ASBOs and they ought to be turfed out of their council houses. This is a cartoon. This is not reality. In reality, we all have problems, whether it's some alcohol problems or some family breakdown or whatever. And this idea that you can put people into these boxes, it seems to me that if you want someone to find work so that they can look after their kids, which is what most people that I've ever met in my life have wanted for themselves and their kids, the worst thing to do is to make them homeless.
I think it's one of those issues whereas perhaps she's just recently come from the Department of Work and Pensions, she's missed the point. The underlying problem to all of this is that there is a fundamental shortage of social housing, which means the only people who are going to stand any chance of getting to the top of the social housing list are people with incredibly complex needs and difficulties. In my surgery, every week people come to me, unless they have children or they have a significant problem, the chances of them actually being allocated some social housing is very, very low. I was talking to someone who runs some of the social housing in my constituency this week, and he said they actually stopped to have a conversation in their office because somebody with a job was actually given a council house. So, you know, we're talking about very, very small numbers of people, and it's a different problem that we need to be tackling. And if we really want to help these people, surely what we need to be doing is offering them intensive support. I had a constituent who was a single mum and got a job over the summer, and she was totally let down by the benefit system. She was basically left without any income for 6 weeks when her job finished, and she knew it was a short-term contract, it's a summer job. And everything collapsed. She got no income support, she got no housing benefit. Because of that, her children didn't get free school meals. She was basically faced with having to steal food to feed her children, and that was because the benefit system had let her down. So will that person look at trying to get another job in the future? No, she won't. And we've got to resolve those issues and offer people intensive support rather than wield a very, very big stick.
Chris Grayling.
Well, we need a tough love approach to getting people back to work. We unveiled a package of welfare to work proposals a month ago, and there's a legitimate and serious debate taking place about how best we do that. But this idea is grandstanding. It's like Gordon Brown last year in British Jobs for British Workers, which is illegal under European law. This idea is illegal too. Now, local authorities have a statutory duty to house families with children. If you look around council houses in this country today, most of them actually go, Julia's absolutely right, to families with children. And the reality is you cannot chuck families with children out onto the streets. It's not legal under current law. It would not be a human thing to do. This idea, I'm afraid, is political grandstanding. It is not a sensible approach to trying to tackle the very real problem of getting people back into work.
Okay. So, if it's illegal, why did she say it?
Well, the questioner asked what is Labour Party policy, and Labour Party policy is about helping people out of unemployment and into work. That goes to the very roots of our movement as a Labour Party, and actually it's probably the thing that makes me most proud about what we have done as a government in terms of relieving child poverty. With 600,000 children lifted out of poverty, and an economy today where the unemployment is at its lowest for 32 years. I mean, many people in the...
We hear this in the House of Commons every week.
No, David,
can you answer her question?
I'm sorry, it's really...
answer her question,
well, I will,
please.
But
don't give
allow me to answer it.
The Labour government over the last 10 years, in your view. But answer the question about what Caroline Flint said.
Well, allow me to come to it in my own way.
I know you were. It was going to take a long time to get there, too, at the rate you were going. I'll repeat the question. Is it now Labour Party policy that the unemployed are authors of their own misfortune to such an extent that they should be deprived of social housing?
No, it's not.
Yes or no?
No, it's not. It's Labour Party policy to help people into work. It's Labour Party policy to tackle intergenerational worklessness, where people have not been brought up in a family where somebody is working. That is most definitely Labour Party policy, and that's what Caroline was talking about. And I was just going to come on to say, before I was rudely interrupted, that this city, more than any, as people here will know, suffered massively from the problems of unemployment and worklessness in the 1980s. I remember that absolutely vividly from my youth. I think Labour should help people where they can't work, but we have a duty, a responsibility to help people into work. And when there are vacancies in the British economy, Dave, as there are now, there are some 600,000 job vacancies in the British economy. Through support through housing, through support through the benefit system, we should help people.
So why was she saying they'd be thrown out?
I think she said that she wanted to start a debate about the expectations that people should work. And there should be, in my view, a clear expectation in the system when people are receiving help from the state, be it through benefits or housing. If you are capable of work, you should work, because it's not in just your, it's not just in your own interest, it's in your family's, interest.
All right, and if they refuse that, then they lose the social housing.
No, I mean, Caroline didn't say that. She wanted to start a debate about how we can create the right incentives for people to work. And I would just say again...
I mean, the reality is, I mean, you talk about all the great achievements in getting people back to work. In the middle of this city centre, you will find huge new developments, new hotels, the new arena, the big new shopping centre. You walk a mile that way, and I've walked down those streets, you will find entire streets where there are only 2 or 3 people in work. So it's not such a great success story.
Chris, I remember this city and this region under your government, and I will take no lectures whatsoever from you about what it is to get people in cities like Liverpool back into work, to give people decent chance of a good start in life, to invest in primary schools, in all the support that people need to give them the best chance of coming to a job at the end, at the point which they're going to get back to work.